right. Hello.
Hello.
All right. So thank you so much for inviting us here today. And I would love it if you would be able to introduce yourself and a little bit about your background.
I'd be happy to. Thanks for coming. My name is Becca Rausch. I am a working mom. I have 2 kids. They're 2.5 and 4. We live, the family, all 4 of the humans plus the dog, who's Bailey, the queen of the canine committee, who might pop in, perhaps. We live here in Needham. I am a lawyer by trade. I have over a decade of experience practicing as an attorney, being a law professor, doing a whole bunch of interesting things both in the private sector and in the public sector. I spent over 3 years working for our state Executive Office of Health and Human Services as the first ever electronic discovery attorney in the history of that secretariat, and I believe in the history of the executive branch ever. I'm also an elected town meeting member here in Needham in the middle of a 3-year term. And when I'm not doing any of those things, I do a lot of folk dancing, and I am the founding director of the premier Israeli dance performance company in New England.
Wow, great. So can you tell our Action Together members and our viewers what you're running for and what district that is in?
Sure. I am running for state senate in the Norfolk, Bristol, and Middlesex district.
Excellent.
Which includes all or part of 12 different municipalities. So here we go. Wayland, all of Wayland, parts each of Needham, Wellesley, and Natick, and then straight south from there, Sherborne, Millis, Norfolk, the town, part of Franklin, Wrentham, Plainville, North Attleboro, and part of the city of Attleboro. So we run all the way from north of the Pike all the way down to the Rhode Island border.
Wow, great.
It's a big district. We have gotten very familiar with all of the districts. So we spent a lot of time on 95 and 495 and various different roads, particularly the back ones, which are, of course, the most beautiful ones.
Well, that is a great segue into my next question, which is, what do you love about your district?
I love so many things about this district, but in particular, I love the environment in this district. It is so green and so lush in so many ways. I think at this point in the campaign, I have yet to go even a couple of days in a row when I'm out on the field and not see plenty of horses and, lots of dogs and trees and lakes and all sorts of wonderful things. And the environment is so important to so many of us living in this district, myself included. And I'm honored to be endorsed by the Mass Sierra Club because we do need to focus on making sure that we have such a beautiful, green, healthy environment so that we can both enjoy it and also live healthy, productive lives as humans.
Perfect. Thanks. So, in what ways would you say you're qualified to be the next state senator from this district?
Sure. As I mentioned earlier, spent over 3 years working for our state executive branch, so I've seen state government from the inside. I know I've seen the things that work, and I've certainly seen plenty of things that don't work. I'm also a member of a legislative body already here in Needham at the local level, so I have experience listening to constituents and advocating for constituents, on top of having been an attorney for quite a while now, and working both in the public sector and in the private sector and understanding the various nuances that come from a variety of different perspectives. Bringing all of that real world experience. I've written legislation, I've written regulation, I've actually done this work that is directly relevant to the work of being our next state senator. In addition, I have been dedicated to social justice and fairness and equality, all of our really core progressive values, my whole life, for pretty much as long as I can remember. I am the granddaughter of a Holocaust survivor. Most of that branch of my family was completely wiped out. And my grandfather survived, made it here. And he actually then enlisted in the U.S. forces and went right back to Germany to fight against Hitler and the Nazis, right back to his hometown, in fact. My mom worked as an activist in this space when I was a child, and, in light of all of that history, I was a high school student and walked into a math class one day taught by a Jewish woman as a member of a strong community in general and also a strong Jewish community, and found a swastika on my desk. So when the shock wore off, the very next thought that popped into my 15-year-old brain was, I have to fix this. And I've been working on social justice and fairness and equality for everyone, whatever your identity happens to be, ever since. It's why I went to law school in the first place, to learn to use the law as a tool for social change. So when I started talking to people about running for office, particularly this office, everybody said, oh yeah, of course you're going to do that. And I said, oh, you guys could have given me the memo, that would have been nice. But here we are. And it's been a really, really exciting campaign. We find just a tremendous amount of enthusiasm for me as a candidate, for this shared progressive vision that we have for this district, for the Commonwealth, for the country. We have lots and lots of work to do on healthcare and education, transportation. I mean, so many different issues. The environment, which we already talked about. And we're just pumped. We're pumped and ready to go. We got this bustling office and lots of volunteers all around, the whole district. And I'm very honored and very grateful.
Wonderful. So in terms of the work that you were mentioning, I was wondering if you could tell everyone what your priorities would be, like maybe your top 3 priorities, if you were to get elected, and how you would plan to work towards those.
Sure. I am running to make government work for working families. And that, for me, actually translates into 4 really top priorities. The first bill that I intend to file is a comprehensive voting rights package. I'm thrilled that Governor Baker signed, automatic voter registration into law. It's not enough. It's great, but it's not enough. We also need same-day registration, particularly in light of the varying changes in our populations, throughout this district and the Commonwealth. Much needed upgrade to our voter rolls and other sort of enhancements to ensure that all of us have access to our right to vote. Your vote is your voice, and we need to make sure that we protect that every step of the way. So voting, healthcare, particularly with universal access to quality, affordable healthcare, especially when it comes to addiction, prevention, treatment, services across the board, women's health. We have lots of work to do in this space. And I'm very proud to be endorsed by Mass Care, which is the leading organization in the Commonwealth that advocates for single payer. Education, another one of my top priorities, particularly making sure that we revise our state education funding formula, which, as I think most people know at this point, given how much it was in the news at the end of the session in July, hasn't actually been updated in quite a long time. Our costs have definitely increased since then. Making sure that we get funding into all of our municipalities to implement public education in a way that makes sense for each of those municipalities. And transportation is the last one, with a real serious investment in infrastructure to ensure that we have accessible, affordable, efficient, green transportation throughout the district and the Commonwealth at large. But we have some real need in that space.
Great. So you mentioned a bunch of priorities, and one thing that I'd like to find out about is with respect to education, public education. The achievement gap is a big concern for a lot of our members, and closing the achievement gap. And what principles do you bring to the table with respect to public education and how things could be improved?
I am a product of public education. My kids will shortly, when they get old enough, they're not quite there yet, but shortly will enter the public education system. And, what I'm hearing throughout the district is related but unique needs in each of the different municipalities in terms of the way the achievement gap manifests in each of those places, and various other issues in particularly related to a lack of sufficient funding, but other issues within the delivery system of our education system right now. So as we've covered already, I have real deep personal connection to equity and fairness. Closing the achievement gap is certainly a component of that. And I think what I think is really crucial for our state senator and all of the members of the legislature, but for me personally as our next state senator to understand and to really internalize is that when we get to the legislative level, we have to be able to create and implement legislation that lifts up each of our communities in each of their own unique ways. Because the right solution for Wayland or Wellesley is not probably the right implemented solution for Attleboro or Plainville. And our legislator needs to know that, appreciate that, talk with all the people on the ground to make sure that from a legislative perspective, we have a real solid understanding of how those issues are manifesting at the ground level, and then extrapolate to the legislative level to write law that makes sense for each of those communities. And that is a particularly unique skill that I bring to the table. Really excited to get to work on it.
Great. With respect to persons with disabilities and caregivers of persons with disabilities, a lot of times legislation falls short of expectations, and also enforcement of legislation falls short. Do you have any plans or ideas as to ways that you could reach out and help those communities?
So I worked at the secretariat level for all of the social service agencies in our state. I've seen a number of the struggles from the administrative side. I've talked to a number of people who are going through those struggles on a personal level. As a senator, I think the first thing to do is to actually talk to the people who are going through this. And look, senators should be, and I will approach this with the prime goal in mind of improving the lived realities of the people in this district. And that absolutely, of course, includes people with disabilities and people who are caregivers. When I was a kid, my mom actually worked for the New York State Special Olympics. So I spent a lot of time as a kid, working in the Special Olympics space and volunteering and engaging with the athletes. And I still to this day am blown away by their accomplishments. And we need to make sure that we are a fully inclusive society. And if we're leaving people behind, particularly people with disabilities, particularly our vulnerable populations, then we're not doing a good enough job.
Great. So is there anything else that you would like our members and viewers to know about you?
We are having so much fun. I would love for everyone to know, hi everybody. I would love for everyone to know that we are having just such a wonderful time talking with all of you and meeting you on the campaign trail and seeing you at lots of different stuff at your door, talking to you on the phone. I am hugely, hugely, hugely grateful for all of the people in this district who have come out to endorse me and come out to knock doors with me, come to make phone calls with me, my stellar, phenomenal team. I'm so grateful for my staff and for everyone who has come to help out in this campaign. We're just so pumped, 6 days to go to the primary. We are really excited. We're heading in with a great plan with lots of GOTV, get out the vote things happening. So, if you're around over the weekend, we would love for you to come and join us. You can sign up at beccarausch.com/GOTV. All lowercase. I learned the other day it does not work if it's uppercase. Good to know. We have lots of shifts Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, of course. If you're an extrovert, great! You can talk to people. If you're an introvert, great! We have other things for you that do not require you to talk to people. And we're just really, really thrilled. We're so grateful for everything that we have been able to experience and learn from so many folks up and down the district throughout the course of this campaign. And we are looking forward to seeing it all the way through and moving on to the general.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I'm Alicia Rinaldi. Thanks for tuning in with Action Together, and good luck.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye.